What it do, y'all, and welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I am here to bring you guys a update on my Pan-22 eyeshadow palette project pan. This is my project pan where I focus on trying to pan 22 eyeshadows in the year of 2022. It started off real good. Okay, I was flying, and then we got real stagnant, and we're still stagnant, but I see movement in the eyeshadows. I see movement closer to pan. And honestly, if we're just talking between me and you, it would be a lot better if I stopped buying eyeshadow palettes so I don't have to take a moment to like put these aside and like test out new eyeshadow palettes. But that's just not in my future. It's not. It doesn't seem to be in my future. I thought it was for a hot second, and then it became not. It's a fun day over here. So if you're interested in seeing the update on these eyeshadows, let's just get into it. So I did just want to talk about my eyeshadow look very quickly. This is of course using my eyeshadow palettes in this project, and I did not necessarily record this exact tutorial that I did just now, but I do have a tutorial with this general eye look, so I will have that link down below. The main difference between that and this eye look today is my eyeshadow primer. Today I used my Playing in Makeup by Yolando eyeshadow primer in E, so it's more of a skin tone shade, so the shadows will actually appear darker on a darker base. So yeah, that's that. Let's get into it. Okay, so we're gonna start off with kind of the newer products that I put in my rotation, and then we'll kind of go towards the older ones. The newest product that I put in this project pan is actually my Dominique Cosmetics Latte 2 palette. This is a really pretty palette. So I put this in the project for two reasons. One, I really love this shade. I love this shade as well. I love just the neutral with the pops of colors. I maybe wasn't overly excited with this palette when I picked it up, if we're being truly honest, but I really wanted to try the formula, and I like this one over the very first original palette. Now I'm loving neutrals. Okay, neutrals and me are like this, so this is just working beautifully for me. I really love the pops, like I said, and these, if I mix certain shades, are actually true neutral undertoned browns. I've been reaching for that, and I do truly enjoy it. So I'm really happy to have this palette kind of close to reaching success, so I can just kind of pull her out. But this is the exact shade that I have in the project, and this is actually the shade that's in my crease today. Like I said, it appears darker on my eyes today because I have that darker base. I really enjoy this shade. I really enjoy the formula overall in this palette. I will say that this is a lot of product in these eyeshadows. Let's see if it says on the packaging. It doesn't say how. Oh, it says 1.8 grams of product in each pan. That's quite a bit. So I don't know when if I will ever hit pan in this project, but this worked beautifully with the shimmer in my project previously, so I just wanted to throw this in and see if I could get some use out of it. Plus I wanted to just kind of use this as a way to shop through my eyeshadow palettes, even if I don't actually successfully hit pan in all of the ones that I put in the project. I think the most recent one after that was actually my Viseart Dark Mattes palette, and I really love this, not only because it's Viseart and I do like their quality. It's not a love like it used to be, but it's a really good quality, and I love the depth. Every last shadow in this palette works on my skin tone, and that's not something that I can say about every palette, even the one that I actually have in my collection. Sometimes I find that all the shadows just don't work, and it's quite irritating. Let's be honest. But anyways, I put this shade in the project, which is like more of a mac and cheese shade. It's really pretty. I tend to use this in my crease with a fluffy brush, so it's going to be once again hard to hit pan. And since this is a professional brand, I'm sure they put a lot of product. Let's see, 0.24 grams, but I think that's overall or 0.84 ounces. I don't really know. I'm not the best when at knowing how to understand that stuff and like what it means, but I do know that there is quite a bit of product in here. Okay. So I'm excited to see how many different looks I can create with this, and especially like if I hit pan in a couple of these palettes, which I think I will be able to in this next month. It'll be interesting to see what I bring in, if I bring anything on, and like how I get different color schemes with said palettes that are currently in my project pan. I believe the next one after that was actually the ABH and Jackie Aina palette, and this is just a really pretty palette. This is the only ABH palette that I currently have in my collection, and for good reason. I love every last shade. Once again, every shade can actually work on my complexion, which is always a bonus. Always a bonus. And this is with Auntie Jackie. I mean, I don't necessarily follow her anymore, just our vibes don't really connect anymore, but I love her. I love what she stands for, and for me this palette was super inspirational, being somebody of my complexion and getting to the point that she is at, where she has millions of followers on pretty much all of her platforms, and she's getting so many deals and so many interactions with brands behind the scenes. I feel like her influence to the beauty community has really helped to expand the ranges that we see in so many kind of more mainstream brands, which of course will filter into the more indie brands, which are the brands that I love to kind of highlight personally on my channel. Anyways, rant aside, this is the shade that I put in my project, and this is a really beautiful duochrome shade. It looks white, but it's actually more of like a bluish teal type situation. It's really pretty. It actually has some gold in there as well, and I find that this just plays really nicely with some of the other shimmers that I have, but also with the mattes that I have. So I really am happy to have that. I hope to hit pan eventually. I am not really targeting that shade as much, but no worries. So one of the palettes that I do think I will be able to hit pan in next month is actually from Nomad Cosmetics, and this is the Harajuku palette. So this is a really pretty palette. This is one of the first brands that I really kind of started to collect their eyeshadow palettes. I've kind of since then tiered off just a little bit, and I think I haven't picked up maybe the last 3 palettes or so, but this was kind of my first introduction, I would say, really with true pastel palette, and I love it for that. You get mattes, you get satins, and then you get these beautiful duochrome multi-chrome shades. And so I decided to choose one of my favorite shades, and also one of the things that I actually remember what it means, because I took Japanese in high school, which was some time ago. Okay, anyways, it is mushy mushy, and so for me, trying to hit pan in something that I know the name of it, I know the background from my Japanese classes, it's just exciting. And this is a really pretty shade. It is actually what's on my lids today, and so even though it looks more of like a seafoam green, I find that it pulls on my skin tone and on my eyes more of as a tealy blue, and so for that reason I thought this would work beautifully with that shade from the Dominique Cosmetics palette, and it has. It's worked beautifully. I have worn this combination or something to the effect multiple times, and I'm just really happy. I am starting to see kind of a real nice dip happening in this pan, and last time this happened with my Dose of Colors Fern Creation palette, it took about, I want to say, a month, maybe 2, after I started to see that dip to really see pan. And once again, in case you're wondering, there are 0.05 ounces in each shade, so that doesn't seem like a lot, so it probably shouldn't have taken me this long to hit pan, but it has. Like I said, I haven't been able to really fully focus on these palettes. I typically get, I would say, about a week's worth of looks with these palettes at the most each month, because I'm testing out other things. So, you know, take that as you will. Yeah, take that as you will. Okay, and then the 2 that have been here since the beginning, we're gonna start off with the second palette that I truly think I may be able to hit pan in next month, and this is the Dose of Colors Marvelous Mauves palette. Now, I have been using this palette quite a bit. Sometimes I will actually even dip into some of these shades when I am kind of building my crease, if I just don't feel like sussing out other mattes from other palettes or whatever have you, but this is the shade that I am really trying to hit pan in, and this is Wine Stain. Now hopefully I'm doing some close-ups so you guys can see, but there is quite the dent in Wine Stain. I could kind of see it last month, but now I am really seeing it. I have been using this when I can remember, honestly, to deepen out pretty much any and every look. Generally, I only use this palette to deepen out looks when I'm doing something off camera, just because on camera typically I like to stick with the palette, whatever palette it is that I'm demonstrating a tutorial with. But when I'm doing a look off camera for myself, for the day, going to work, whatever it is, I do tend to deepen out all of my looks. It's just kind of a natural inclination, and so for me, I do reach for this, and I'm starting to see a nice little dip. I am using a multitude of brushes when it comes to this, and when I do use an actual liner brush, I find that that's where I'm really starting to see the targeted use in this pan, and why I'm feeling so hopeful that I will actually be able to hit pan next month. Do I think that the pans that I'm going to be able to reach in both of these palettes potentially next month is going to be huge? No. I think, as with pretty much all of the pans that I have made in this project, it's going to be minuscule, but that's okay. That's fine with me. I just want to see the fruits of my labor. It has been quite a few months now since I have hit pan, and so I really would like to kind of get back on the ball when it comes to reaching this goal, because I had thought that, like, you know, taking 2 months out of the year and not hitting pan would be fine as long as I kind of catch up in a couple of months to kind of, you know, whatever, but it don't look like I'm catching, so I need to catch it up. Okay. Okay, and then the last palette in this project is from Dose of Colors as well, and this is the Sassy Siennas palette. Now this palette I use a slightly different than the Marvelous Mauves. So with this one, I am using all of these shades when I use them with a fluffy blending brush. I don't really target these to deepen out shades, even though they can, specifically this one, and then of course the actual black, but that's not in the original palette, so I don't really use it all that much when it comes to kind of targeting this for my goal. But I have used this in the crease and then this deepening up. It's beautiful, really pretty shade. Honestly, the whole kit and caboodle is pretty, and I think I should have waited to actually pick this palette up till I understood makeup a lot more in my later years of kind of being in this space. Anyways, this is in the shade Stay Sassy. Really enjoy it. It's a nice deepener shade, and it's honestly a nice crease shade just for me. I am darker, and so I find that a darker crease shade just tends to work out for me overall. So these are all of the palettes, and I hope that I've kind of given you a little bit more of a thorough kind of background on why I put these in the project, and also kind of the combinations that I have. Like I said, check out that tutorial down below. Those are kind of the more recent 3 tutorial kind of general eye looks that I have been doing when it comes to these. So anytime you see that eye look on camera, it's with one of those tutorials. But as always, I like to swatch them on the back of my hand just so that you guys can see the color story. And even though it's the exact same color story, I figured why not, in the event that this is your first video or the first time kind of watching this series. So give me 1 second. I'm just going to swatch all of them on the back of my hand really quickly so that you guys can get kind of a snapshot on what I'm working with. Alrighty, let's go through them. So this one is Matcha from the Dominique Cosmetics palette. This one is Mushy from the Harajuku palette from Nomad Cosmetics. This one is the from the Marvelous Mauves palette, and it is Wine Stain. This is the mac and cheese shade from the Viseart Dark Mattes palette. This is the matte from the Sassy Sienna palette, and this is Stay Sassy. And then lastly, I have Trust Issues from the Jackie Aina and ABH palette. Really pretty. I kind of swatch them in their respective color schemes. I tend to use these 3 shades together and these 3 shades together. I think that you can see they're pretty much split between cool tones and warm tones. And yeah, let me just come in so you guys can fully see what's going on. So yeah, even though there's not real progress shown when it comes to this project pan, I am still very, very happy with the fact that I am not getting bored of these. I find that previously I used to get kind of bored of eyeshadow palettes specifically that I was targeting, and then I would just kind of immediately close the project pan and then just go to the next one. And I'm really still trying to find beautiful different combinations, whether it's using different shades that are in the palettes to kind of add some variety to it or whatever have you. So I'm really, really happy about that. Also, of course, 1 + 1 = 2. If I use these more, I'll get pan quicker and more efficiently. I understand that. You can see that I get that, especially when you look at my other project pan that I update you guys on monthly, which is my makeup project pan. I have gone through 20 items with that project pan, and that's because literally every time I sit down to do my makeup, basically I am reaching for those products. So I get that constantly using products helps to use up the product, but I do really enjoy testing out eyeshadow palettes. I really enjoy getting different color schemes, and sometimes I just can't help myself. I've been trying to do better this year, and I know what last week I said that I was kind of going on pretty much a very, very restricted low buy. Like I've said, kind of tidbitly slowly in some videos, that has changed. I still definitely want to constrict how much I am spending, but I'm not going to try to strive for such a constricted limit on how much. It's a whole thing. I need to do a get ready with me. Hopefully it will happen sometime this month, but I have so many videos that I want to push out that are more important than that. Anywho, though, I hope you guys enjoyed this quick update. I'm sure it wasn't quick because I've been rambling for quite some time, but I hope you guys enjoyed this update. So tomorrow's video, what is tomorrow's video? It's a get ready with me with new makeup. I have already filmed that. I just need to edit it, and it will be showcasing some of the products that you guys were interested in, also quite a bit of the products that I got from the BoxyCharm order. So do stay tuned for that. I'm very excited. I actually enjoyed a lot of the products. I don't really know how I feel about the overall look, but you know, that's a discussion for another day. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye guys.